Welcome to the deep dive.
Hmm.
We're jumping straight into something really fascinating happening over in China, the way its night economy and, well, its bar culture have been evolving.
Yeah, and this whole deep dive actually came about because one of our listeners, asked us to check out this bar chain called Helen's.
Right, which is fantastic. It really highlights how useful it is having all of you pointing us towards interesting things. So, yeah, thanks for that prompt.
Absolutely. And looking into the material you shared, it really paints a picture, how people socialize after dark in Chinese cities, what they're looking for, and how businesses are trying to meet that. It's not just about the drinks.
Not at all. It's the whole experience. So, okay, let's unpack this. To really get what's happening now, we kind of need to look back just a bit.
Definitely. I mean, the source material makes it pretty clear how recently China's nightlife really kicked off, at least in the way we might think of it. Even just 10 years ago, big cities, Beijing, Shanghai, they quieted down super early.
Yeah, like 11 p.m., things were apparently pretty dead. And some of that, the material suggests, was tied to, well, public order maintenance.
Uh-huh. Things like temporary lodging registration, maybe not always strictly enforced for locals by then, but still being out really late, it could get you questioned by police. Sometimes just, nudged to go home.
And that applied to foreigners too, right?
Hmm.
Even though hotels handled the registration side, still created a sort of general caution about being out late unless you were in certain spots.
Exactly. And then there was this other factor, an economic one, that the source calls summer wilt. Shikule, I think.
Yeah, it sounds counterintuitive, right? Summer should be busy.
You'd think. But the daytime heat, especially in places like Beijing, it's described as this really intense, direct sun, just tiring, even if it's not super humid. Like Japan, it meant people just stayed inside during the day. So consumption actually dropped.
Ah, okay. So promoting a night economy wasn't just for fun, it was a strategy, a way to fight that summer slump.
Precisely. And we see this really start taking shape around 2018, according to the source.
The government actually stepped in.
Yeah, designating official night hours like 9 p.m. to midnight, roughly, encouraging shops to stay open later, extending subway hours, that kind of thing.
But not just a free-for-all, it seems.
Hmm.
Beijing, for instance, was more targeted.
Right. They designated specific areas like Sanlitun, Neida as Night Beijing. Plus, other spots like parks, museums, night markets, 16 locations mentioned in total.
Which sounds like a way to manage potential security issues, maybe? Keep things contained while still encouraging activity.
That seems plausible. And what's really interesting is the source notes the timing coincided with the popularity of that TV show, Midnight Diner.
Oh, yeah.
It suggests maybe there was this growing cultural desire for those kinds of late-night, low-key places happening alongside the official policy.
Of course, then COVID hit and paused everything.
Yep, put the brakes on. But the material indicates things are slowly coming back, and there was hope for a bigger rebound after the Beijing Olympics.
Okay, so you've got this official push for nightlife, but then you bump up against the cultural side of things, especially around drinking.
This is crucial. Public drunkenness in China. The source says it's viewed very negatively, like being careless, almost irresponsible, maybe even a social dropout.
It mentions Chinese people find pictures of, say, Japanese salarymen passed out in public. Quite surprising.
Exactly. It's just not really a done thing publicly, which contrasts sharply with drinking among friends.
Right. In private settings, a KTV room, someone's home getting drunk together can actually be a sign of closeness, of trust.
And that kind of explains why traditional bars or Japanese-style izakayas weren't super common historically. People preferred those private spaces if they planned on drinking heavily.
So the bars that did exist, like in Sanlitun near the embassies or Huhai, they felt a bit like imports.
Pretty much. And those areas changed too. Sanlitun apparently had a bit of a rough reputation earlier, crime and drugs, but got redeveloped into this modern shopping district with bars that feel more tourist-focused now.
And Huhai went from quiet lakeside spots to a really noisy, flashy bar street.
Yeah, visually overwhelming, aimed at tourists, often overpriced. Locals tend to avoid it, the source says.
Okay, so that's the scene. Quiet nights, historically, a government push, cultural views on drinking, what breaks the mold.
RIO, pre-mixed cocktails. The material points to this as a huge turning point.
RI. Why did that take off so dramatically? The source gives two main reasons, right?
Yep. First, the look. Those bright, almost fluorescent pastel colors, 6 different kinds mentioned blue rose, peach, lime. They looked good, like really Instagrammable. People even use the bottles for party decorations.
Visually appealing. Okay, what was the second reason?
Low alcohol, only 3.8%. That's less than most beers, which are usually around 5%.
Ah, and that ties into health trends.
Exactly. The source mentions this growing preference for 3 lows: low fat, low sugar, and low alcohol. RAO fit right in.
And they didn't just sell the drink, they sold an idea.
Yes. They pushed the term Wyistum really hard. It means like tipsy or micro intoxication. It wasn't about getting drunk. It was about this pleasant, slight buzz.
That's clever. And that micro-intoxication idea opened things up.
Big time. Especially for women, the source suggests. Traditional views might have made women hesitant to drink in public if it meant risking looking drunk. But micro intoxication, that felt different, more acceptable, safer.
So suddenly you have more people, including more women, potentially interested in going to bars.
Which means more competition between bars. You can't just serve drinks anymore. You need something extra.
The alcohol plus X factor.
Precisely. The X being the whole store experience, the reason why someone chooses your bar over another.
And the demographic really driving this, according to the material, is China's Gen Z, born from 95 onwards.
Yeah, the 95 Gen 05, huge group, about 19% of the population, 260 million people.
And the drinking age is 18, so the potential market within Gen Z is, what, about 160 million?
Massive. Huge potential. But, and this is a really important point from the source, citing a 2021 report, their finances, especially students, are tight.
How tight?
Average disposable income around 1680 RMB a month. That's got to cover food, phone, everything beyond basic living.
Okay, not a lot of spare cash. And their spending habits are specific.
Very. Apparently, 71% spend almost all their leisure time on hobbies, specifically ACGN, anime, comic, game, novel.
Wow, okay. How much time and money?
Over 12 hours a week and almost 800 RMB a month on average, just on those hobbies.
So subtract that from their disposable income. They're left with maybe 800 RMB for everything else. Shopping, movies, going out.
Exactly. Which means if a bar wants that money, it needs a really compelling reason for Gen Z to choose it over saving or spending on something else. The X factor has to be strong.
The material mentions different types of bars, right? Like
Yeah.
theater bars, pubs with food, cafe bars.
Yeah, and other places like live houses or karaoke, which have different models, maybe more focused on entertainment or entry fees. Each targets slightly different groups.
And there's this other emerging style mentioned too.
Yeah, sort of like drink a little, soothe the soul. Apparently popular among single working women, maybe just wanting a quiet drink alone or with a friend.
Okay, so this is the landscape. A young generation, growing market, but cash-strapped, specific interests, shifting drinking culture. How does a chain like Helen's fit in and become so successful they IPO'd in 2021?
Helen's fascinating. The source presents it as the perfect case study. Founded 2009, but really exploited recently. Over 800 stores now, 100+ cities.
And the source uses nicknames to explain their model.
Yeah, which is really helpful. First, Knight's Mixi Bing Cheng.
Mixi Bing Cheng, that's the super cheap ice cream and tea place, right?
Exactly. So that tells you Helen's is first pillar. Low price. Most drinks are under 10 RMB, like really cheap.
How do they possibly manage that?
Private brands. PB drinks. They rely heavily on their own branded stuff, low alcohol, fruity things. Strawberry beer, peach beer. Apparently, peach is the bestseller.
Okay, PB keeps costs down. Example.
The Hydor set. 12 cups of their PB drinks for just 59 RMB.
Wow. Okay, next nickname.
Knight's Starbucks, which sounds contradictory, right?
Yeah, Starbucks isn't exactly cheap.
It refers to the average customer spend, around 50 RMB per person at Helen's, which is actually comparable to what someone might spend at Starbucks.
But people stay way longer at Helen's, don't they?
Look, yeah.
The source said like 2 hours versus maybe half an hour at Starbucks.
Exactly. So for that 50 RMB, you're getting a lot more social time, a lot more perceived value, especially if you're a student just looking for somewhere to hang out. You can see why you might choose Helen's.
Okay, makes sense. Low price, good value for time. What's the third nickname?
Knight's Pinduoduo.
Pinduoduo, known for focusing on smaller cities, right? The sinking markets.
Spot on. Helen's does the same. Only about 12% of their stores are in the big Tier 1 cities. They focus heavily on lower-tier cities and areas near universities, which are often further out. Cheaper rent is key there.
So low prices via PB, good time value, cheaper locations. The source references the securities report.
Yeah, Jay. It basically concludes that low operating cost is the absolute core of their success. Low initial investment to open a store, quick payback about 11 months, and really lean staffing.
How lean?
Standard setup mention is just 12 staff for a place with 40 tables, serving maybe 160 customers.
How do they manage with so few staff?
They've designed the operation to need minimal skilled labor. The PB drinks, pre-mixed or just pour and serve. The food, super simple. Fried stuff, cut fruit, maybe some sliced cucumber. Things that need assembly or microwaving, not actual cooking.
Yeah, no live music or anything complex.
Nope, just a standard playlist sent from headquarters. Simple.
Which means they can use a lot of part-time staff.
Exactly. The source says 74% of their staff are part-time or dispatched. It makes Helen's function less like a traditional bar and more like a private brand retailer that happens to have an eat-in space. High margin on PB, low operating costs.
And they shifted strategy to achieve this. From franchising.
Yeah, until 2017, it was more standard franchising. But from 2018, notice the timing, right when the night economy push started, they switched to rapid expansion of direct-owned stores. That let them standardize everything, enforce that low-cost model efficiently.
Okay, the model is clear. Cheap, efficient, targeted locations.
Yeah.
But still, cheap drinks and basic snacks.
Right.
Why is that the place Gen Z wants to hang out? Back to the X factor.
This is the core of it. What is Helen's X? The source is really explicit. It's sure. Encounters. Meetings.
So like a matchmaking bar?
Not quite. That's the crucial distinction. It's not about setting people up directly. It's about creating an environment, an atmosphere where meeting people feels natural, possible, even expected.
Ah, okay. Subtle.
Yeah.
And that appeals to students.
Hugely. It's more exciting than just sitting in a cafe, right? There's that little buzz, that possibility you might meet someone interesting.
How do they actually do that? What encourages these encounters?
Several things mentioned. There was apparently a secret phrase promotion. Sometimes you ask the staff a specific question about having a lover, follow a script, get a free drink. Not always running, but it shows the intent.
Clever. What else?
Seating strategy. They might try to seat groups of guys and groups of girls near each other. Not obviously, but strategically.
And that cheap high door set.
Perfect icebreaker. 12 small cups of low alcohol drink. It's practically designed to be shared with the table next to you. Hey, want to try one of these? Easy conversation starter.
That makes sense. And they allow outside food.
Yeah, which is also interesting. Bring in some unusual snack or get a delivery. Sharing that could also spark interaction. Wow, so that looks good.
Even the decor plays a part.
Photo-friendly interiors, different themes, Asian, Roman, whatever. People take pictures. Creates opportunities. Someone offers to take a photo for another group. Boom, interaction.
And WeChat message boxes.
Right. People, mostly guys, according to the source, can leave little cards with their WeChat IDs hoping someone picks it up. More passive, but still part of the atmosphere.
So the key isn't guaranteeing a date, it's the vibe.
Yeah.
The possibility.
Exactly. It's the atmosphere of expecting encounters. And this creates a really interesting dynamic, a virtuous cycle.
How so?
Because the atmosphere feels relatively safe and relaxed, young women feel comfortable going in groups. It doesn't feel like a potentially sketchy older bar. They might end up spending less if guys offer to share drinks or food.
Okay.
And, crucially, they might eventually meet someone nice. This positive experience attracts female groups. And where female groups feel comfortable,
Male groups will follow.
precisely. It's smart social engineering almost.
The source compares it to a shift in matchmaking events in Japan.
Yeah, moving away from just pure meat market parties towards things like cooking classes or hiking trips where there's also an activity. It makes it less pressured, attracts more people, especially women, and lets personalities emerge more naturally. Though COVID apparently hit that trend hard in Japan.
Okay, so Helen's nailed this formula. Standardized low-cost operation, targeting the right markets, high-margin PB products, and this carefully cultivated encounter atmosphere.
That seems to be the recipe. And their ambition was huge. The source mentioned a goal of 2,200 stores by 2023, which is massive growth.
What's the biggest risk or challenge mentioned?
Maintaining that atmosphere, managing the encounter experience. There's always a risk it could slide into something less positive, solicitation, harassment, that kind of thing.
That sounds like a really fine line to walk.
It is. The source notes that Japanese companies looking at similar ideas are very wary of this. And in China, any kind of illegal activity gets cracked down on hard. So the prediction is that some copycat businesses might fail because they can't manage that balance.
But as of when the source was written, Helen's had managed it.
Yes. They succeeded in creating that specific atmosphere of expecting encounters without apparently crossing major lines. And the analysis suggests there are real lessons here for night economy businesses elsewhere.
Investors seem to agree, based on the IPO.
Definitely signals confidence in the model. The source does point out one potential weakness at the time. Their social media and short video promotion seemed underdeveloped.
But they expect that to change.
Yeah, the feeling was that whatever Helen's does next in that space will probably be as unique and calculated as the rest of their business model.
Wow. Okay, so that's quite a journey from quiet nights to government initiatives, cultural shifts in drinking, and then this really specific data-driven, experience-focused model from Helen's.
It really highlights how, especially for younger consumers, just selling a product often isn't enough anymore. It's about the experience, the X factor.
And Helen's X being these facilitated but not forced social encounters.
It's fascinating, but also complex. Absolutely. Which kind of leaves us with something for you, the listener, to think about. How are you seeing businesses around you trying to create compelling experiences beyond just their core product or service?
And specifically thinking about Helen's, what are the opportunities and maybe the hidden risks when social spaces are deliberately designed to encourage interaction and encounters? What's that balance look like?
Yeah, it makes you look at the places you hang out in a slightly different light, doesn't it?
It really does. Well, a huge thank you again to the listener who sent us down this rabbit hole with that source material. Really fascinating stuff.